down and stuff. Yeah, they were going after this. That's who I is.
Yeah.
And I went, that would be a shame. And that's one of the reasons yeah. Down to the 14-minute
Find an overpass or a gas station and you wait it out, I guess. Yeah.
More traveling than ever before. Right there on that rock.
There's a little chipmunk again. Daddy, see the little chipmunk? Yeah, the water from the water fountain is good. It's good water. And Mom, I need that water because
everybody else is carved out of what was there, and that looks like it's hollow.
I know.
Push stuff back.
Zachary?
What's our elevator?
If you want to go to the gift store, yeah, I'd be rolling down it. Yeah, you'd be rolling down it. I'm guessing they're already down there.
I felt this. We're good. I'm good.
I forgot we were on the plane. Like, I was like, I was like, we were on the, we were going pretty steady close to the ground. So my brain was stuck here in the car. I thought I was in the car. But no, the plane just landed.
This is what it was like. That's how you keep your hands on. Very much just like Try taking extra steps.
That's why I'm like, why?
So we're going through it. I drove over. She's so happy.
Anything like that, go through those back doors, down the elevator or staircase, and into another hallway. But seeing as all of you are here today, I can only assume you've seen none other than Mount Rushmore National Memorial itself. But we also have this incredible steel model behind me, and both of them are created by a man named Hudson Wardlow, whose image you can see there on the left-hand side of the fireplace. But he did not start out carving mountains. Instead, he was an artist who had to get a start somewhere and work his way up to be able to carve those mountains. And so I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about his art career, kind of how he came to Mount Rushmore and how he carved it. So if you guys want to take a step back with me, when he was only 17 years old, he knew that he wanted to be an artist. He knew he wanted to have an art career. And so he decided to leave his home of Nebraska and head out to California. And there in California, he met a woman named Elizabeth Liza Putnam. She was a still life painter there in California, and she helped him to establish all those foundational painting skills he needed. She was his first painting instructor. She taught him everything he needed to know up until he started making his commissions. And his first commission was from a woman named Jess Fremont, who was married to General Charles Fremont, and she had commissioned a portrait of the general from Wardlow. Wardlow happily agreed, and so upon returning said portrait to her, she was ecstatic. She loved the results. So much so that she continued to send him a lot of his early commissions there in the beginning. And she kind of also gave him a taste of the finer things of life as she introduced him to a lot of her friends in her higher class or upper class society circles. And so, getting that taste for things, he kind of wanted to explore more and learn more about art. And so he headed out to Europe in London, Spain, Paris, many other notable places around there to learn more about painting and get more understanding of art. And so for the next 11 years, he made his living off of his painting commissions out there. And after a couple of years, he finally came back to the States.
Oh, here's the update.
Weapons meets the mission.
No, I'm Dad. Dad, I want to go. I got all that is stuff.
We're not going back. Let's get to that one. That sucks.
I want to go down. Are you sure this is...
Chase, are you okay?
No.
Lincoln,
Yeah, they did.
you can't go ahead. Okay?
Well, I'm already ahead.
You guys are just too slow to keep up with me.
I guess there are a bike right here.
Yeah. Just skip steps.
Cyrus, we're waiting.
Ooh. Yeah, I ain't waiting.
Hi. Cyrus, wait up.
I'm taking a break. Yeah. You still got a phone, right?
I have a phone.
It's like a 0%. Sorry. So your best bet, since you already came up this far, is to go that way.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. No, I'm just saying, if we came up so far, we should probably tell them that we're not going back, because otherwise you have to go all the way down, all the way back up again.
Okay. Big smiles.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you guys so much.
Cyrus, wait up. Cyrus,
Thank you.
wait up. Can we chill for a little bit?
All right. Thank you guys.
You're welcome. I'm telling you, you guys are going
There's not even a hole in the nose. Man, I feel like I've been lied to at one point in my life. I thought you could climb up their nose. Yeah. But you got like the last.
Nelson? Joe? Any of you guys? Who are you?
I have a picture of the four of us, and I don't have any of you guys, so and I know that wouldn't have been the case. So I don't think you guys came with. I think we got here early, and we came here because it's been a while. And then we met up through the cabin. And that was probably about
Okay, it says it is strenuous.
Dogs aren't allowed on it. Yeah, they seem like dogs.
Yeah.
They went back.
We could go back and be in the
No! You want to go down and up the stairs again?
Yeah?
No, you're gonna have to climb all the way back up right now or go hold it.
I want to go to the hairy dog and thingy. Can I go to the No! That's the walk.
That probably would think.
Dude, don't drop the phone.
Can I switch?
We'll come back down to kind of maybe a different lighting.
Well, then the sun's going to be in our face. So is that better?
Right before dusk. Kind of did that the other night.
Yeah, we did.
I don't know, maybe they were talking about like.
Picture came out clear. Well, no, we did. Yeah, right before. What were we there at 9?
That ended there.
You know, we think about the passion that goes in.
Make myself worth going.
I know. A couple years old.
Yeah.
Just insane amount of flow.
God, no, I'm sorry about your boobies.
West.
top hat.
The direction was so wrong. And it just wouldn't go to him and he had it so
Oh, it sounds like somebody else I know.
sounds like, right, exactly. Sounds like maybe God's hand was on that.
Picture time.
And what kind of degree angles, what shapes?
Like, 100. Oh, it's not 60.
I don't know. See that thing?
Just a little bit.
That's so cool. You hear from that?
Hey, Tyler. Over here.
What I just said to you in my language was, hello, my relatives. It's nice to see you. It is a beautiful morning. I am a descendant of two chiefs, Chief War Eagle and Chief Swift Cloud, and I come to you with a warm heart and a warm handshake. And to start off this morning's presentation, I'd like to sing for you a song that was composed after World War I. I'd like to acknowledge that out of all of the wonderful diversity that we have in America, that Native Americans have been one of the most that served in the United States military. I'd also like to acknowledge that there was a wonderful movie made about the Dene co-talkers, but the truth be told is that all tribal citizens who maintained their language were used as co-talkers in those battles. When you imagine those co-talkers, I also want you to imagine that once were students in a boarding school that were punished for speaking their own language, but they were just like a buffalo in a blizzard and they persevered so it could be victorious in those battles. The song I'm going to sing for you is the Lakota American flag song. So if there's any veterans or anybody who is still serving, I'd like to sing this in your honor and thank you for your service. I just told you I am a descendant of two chiefs, Chief War Eagle and Chief Swift Cloud. But I am also a very, very proud grandson of a grandfather who was a lieutenant colonel in the United States Air Force. And he flew 96. The song simply states that there's a grandfather to the east. This grandfather has a pole that stands up tall. On that pole, there's a flag that waves without end. It says, standing underneath that flag will bring strength and unification to the people. So the last lyrics of the song the warrior composed, he said, Le cha mu alo. I will do this. I will stand underneath this flag and bring strength and unification to the people. And when we think of our great American flag, we need to think of some of our great American heroes. And I'm having some hope this morning because I'm very saddened by a lot of the groups I've been presenting for. And if you're wondering, there is definitely a reason why the National Memorial has asked me to be up here this morning. So the first American hero that I would like to acknowledge is the first casualty in our Revolutionary War. Anybody know who the first casualty of the Revolutionary War was? Thank you.
Crispus Attucks?
Thank you, sir. Hey, are you from America?
Yes.
Okay, all right. He was a business owner. He owned his own ship. He was not European descent. He was African descent, and he was native descent. First mixture of blood spilt on this ground to start our country. An American hero and a tribal citizen. Christmas ethics. There you guys go. Keep that in mind. Remember that. That's when they talk about going back to what this country was. Here you have a man that was living in the 1700s, owned his own ship, his own shipping company. Beautiful story there. Okay, a few years after that, year 1912. And I do this because, you know, I travel a lot. I do a lot of talks. You guys can look up my first and last name. I go over to Europe quite a bit. And I know that Switzerland's getting ready to celebrate their Independence Day, which happened in the 1200s. Okay, ours happened in the 1700s. We should be more aware of these things, these facts. Yeah, right? So, this next hero I'd like to acknowledge is in the year 1912. It's in the World Olympics. This American hero, he won almost every single event in the decathlon. And the King of Sweden called him the greatest athlete in the world. He did all these victories wearing 2 shoes of 2 different sizes and 2 socks of 2 different sizes. Why? Because his own American teammates took his running shoes and the socks away from him before the event started. Later on, when he came back home to America, America took all of his gold medals away from him because he played a little semi-pro baseball. But if he didn't go through the things he did, we wouldn't have the AFL or the NFL or the American football that we like to watch to this day. The truth be told, this individual was coached by the great coach Pop Warner. And if you're playing college football to this day and you received an award with his name on it, guaranteed to the first draft of the NFL. That American hero and that tribal citizen, his name is Jim Thorpe. And there he is with the 2 different size shoes, 2 different size socks. Same year of the Olympics, 1912 Olympics, another American hero. Fastest swimming human being in all the world, but some people didn't want to acknowledge it because of his skin tone. But if he didn't win the races he did and go through the things he did, we wouldn't have surfing as popular as it is today. That American hero and that tribal citizen is the Duke of Hawaii. A few years after that, World War II, this American hero was the last of his battalions. He was the last one to push up that American flag on the island of Iwo Jima to ensure our victory on that day. That American hero and that tribal citizen, his name is Ira Hayes. And if you guys need a little reference, there was an actual photograph taken right when the event was happening. Very, very famous statue. But most Americans do not know that that last American pushing up that flag is Native as well. So again, I'm here to unite, not to divide, and hopefully we can preserve, right? And I could be here all day long if I'm going to talk about American heroes, which I love to acknowledge about American heroes because I love to see kids' eyes get open and be like, oh, really? That came from here? These people did that? Because it's amazing. And you should learn that because a lot of awesome things happen. These last 2 American heroes I'd like to acknowledge, they come from right here in South Dakota. The first one, he is still alive. He's inspiring people all over the world still to this day. I got the privilege to meet him in high school. Then I got to sit with them later on up here at this mountain at the theater. We were acknowledging Ben Blackout, the first cultural bearer here at Mount Rushmore. In 1964, he was the first American to ever win the 10,000 meter race. Unfortunately, as history repeats itself, he was frantically looking for his running shoes right before the beginning of the race because his own teammates hid his running shoes from him. But he persevered just like a buffalo in a blizzard, and he found those running shoes, and he won that gold medal. Guess what? It's 2024, guys. He is still to this day the only American that's ever won that 10,000 meter race. He's an American hero. He's an Oglala Lakota tribal citizen, and his name is Billy Mills. And he also has light eyes like I do. Okay, this last one. Forgive me if I get a little emotional about this, but I get my blood from this group. This group has been belittled since the beginning of our country. They made this group seem like there was something materialistic that could be bartered, traded for, or even taken. Why would they want to make this group seem so weak? Because if this group is weak, if this group is unhealthy, guess what? They give birth to unhealthy warriors. They give birth to unhealthy leaders. The group I'm talking about is our Native women. When you look at these lodges, I want you to keep in mind it's the Native women who put these up. It's the Lakota who own these lodges. You see how tall those lodge poles are? They're the ones who cut those lodge poles down. They're the ones who scrape the bark to take these shapes and to make them into a home. They're the ones who give birth to us. They're the ones to teach us our first signs of manners, respect, love. Some of the first words that we speak out of our mouth come from our mothers. Why would they want to belittle that? Because that would belittle us. But I'll tell you what, the women had such more of a high place in our society back then. A lot more than what people even think or can imagine. I can tell you that all these guys could say what they want to, but then when they get back into that lodge, they know who made the final decision there. And I will tell you that marriage and everything was very, very sacred to our people. That was another thing that they would like to give you a myth that all these men get to do whatever they want to. No, 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 no. They forget that these daughters come from fathers. And as fathers are very proud of our daughters. We just don't give up our daughters. And so if a man wants to marry our daughter, he better be good enough. Nowadays, a man would go to a woman's father, and I think this is very universal. You'd say, hey, I've got a good salary job, 401k plan, I've got a low interest rate on my mortgage, my Harley's been paid off for a while, I got some good investments. You would prove that you're good to do that. Back then, you would do the same thing. So there was a lot of process to it. And once that process was done and everything was approved and a man and woman got to marry, this is a true ceremony. This is how they got married. They would get into the ceremony, they would take a piece of the man's flesh, a little piece of his arm, and they'd take a piece of the woman's flesh. And they put them together just like it says in the good book, two flesh becoming one. And then from that day forth, the man and woman would not call each other by their name. They would call them Mahasani. Mahasani means my other skin, my other flesh. See how sacred that is and how high the standards were? To give you another perspective of our people. Well, this woman, she represented those standards. And she was born in the late 1800s on the Yankton Indian Reservation. Early 1900s, she went to Carlisle Indian Boarding School. I encourage you, if you're in the area, to go visit that school and learn about that history. Because that's a part of our history that we need to learn about. And then maybe we could heal, right? That's the thing, that's a word that people forget about, is healing, right? We got to learn about things and then we can heal. Well, she didn't like to see the treatment of her own people in these boarding schools, so she knew the best thing she could do is get her educated in the same system that she's getting taught in. So in her education, she became a musician. She was so good at violin that she played her violin for the President of the United States. She's the first Indian woman and the only Indian woman to compose an opera that was performed on Broadway. Her publications and her writings can still be found all over the world to this day. She goes underneath the penmanship of Zitkala Shah, which in English means red bird woman. But what most Americans don't know about, and what even most of my own people don't know about, and I'd like them to learn about her because she's very important. She spent the last years of her life living in Washington, D.C. And this is a true American story where things can happen. If you want something to happen, we're going to stay here in Washington, D.C. until we see something happen, right? And while she was living in Washington, D.C., she was fighting for two groups to have rights. Most Americans are not aware of that. Us Native Americans did not become citizens of the United States until 1924. Who else got the right to vote in 1920? Women. And one of those champions was a Dakota woman from right here in this state, Dakota territory. In Dakota, her name is Zitkala Shah, which means redbird woman. In English, her name is Gertrude Simmons Bonner. She is an American hero and a tribal citizen. There's her with her violin before she plays for the President of the United States. And here's a picture of her in the last years of her life living in Washington, D.C., where she died fighting for women's rights and Native rights. She was also good friends with Susan B. Anthony. So maybe that's a little bit different than what you were expecting as you first came up here, but there is my definition of the Lakota American flag song. So if you guys look curious about who's been speaking to you so far this morning, if you look very closely at this young man in the face, and you look at me in the face, you're going to see a lot of similarities. Right at the beginning of the presentation, I told you I'm a descendant of two chiefs, Chief War Eagle and Chief Swift Cloud. If you go through Sioux City, Iowa, there's a statue of a chief holding a pipe across the Missouri River and the Big Sioux River. That's Chief War Eagle. That's his grandfather. He's my grandfather. This is Chief Hump. This picture was taken in 1885 in Washington, D.C. He served as Chief Hump interpreter. Chief Hump is the son of Chief Hump. Both are related to Tashunka Witko, the crazy horse. And so if you wonder where I get my information from, I get it directly from my grandpa. And my grandpa here, he spoke 3 different languages. He spoke Lakota, Nakota, Dakota, Torresele, Francois, and English. So I think he was trying to make a standard back then. And then I told you I was the descendant of Chief Swift Cloud. Swift Cloud was with Sitting Bull at the Battle of Little Bighorn and went to Canada and came back down. Along with them was my great grandma, Uchinchila. go outside, look a lot alike. You guys want to hear a little story about her? She always loved to tell the story. My relatives love to tell the story about her. So her name was Wichinchila, or Wichinchila Wastewalake, really pretty little girl, right? And then the traders found out and they called her little Molly. So then when she's older, they call her Malichika, little Molly. In Lakota is the way we say that. But she would always tell the story. She lived to be 104. That's pretty longevity right there, right? And so when she was a little girl coming back from the battle there, she always expressed about, you know, back in the day, you would see a water that was running, and that water was pure. It was good. You could drink it. There was no pollutants in it. It was just nice. It was what the Creator intended for us, to always be able to refresh ourselves and get ourselves a drink. And so they said they were coming back to the camp there, and she had her a horn cup with us. And no, this one right here is a spoon. This is for our Captain Crunch, or for our cereal. But you just imagine if it has all the sides. Then we also had this around our neck, or we had it on the side. It was a horn cup, and that's what we used, just like a water bottle, right? But like I said, the water was pure back then. And so she was along the stream there. It was outside in the area. Nowadays they call it deadwood. And while she was there, she was getting herself a fresh drink of water. And she was drinking it, and she was refreshing herself. And then she looked into the water, and there was something glowing in the water. And it mesmerized her. Her curiosity got the best of her, so she reached in there, and she grabbed this glowing object. And when she pulled it up out of the water, the sun hit it, and it really made it glow. And it's just, in Lakota we say, Lila Ilecha, it's really shining. And as she sees that, she brings it up to her lips, and she tastes it. There's no taste. And she puts it up to her nose and she smells it, and there's no smell. And as she's handling it, it's really brittle and it's really soft. So she's thinking to herself, she can't make anything out of it, no tools or anything that would be useful for the people. So then she tells everybody in her heart and her mind, tell her that this is not supposed to be in her hands, that it's supposed to be back into the water, because it makes that water nice and clean, and it keeps everything nice and shiny in the water for everybody to enjoy and to look at. So she put that substance back into the water, and she left it there, because she couldn't eat it, and she couldn't make any tools out of it that would be good enough to be useful. You know what she was holding on to? It was gold. Gold was never useful to our people. Never